cracked. You're good.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joanne Cunningham, the chair of the Albany County Legislature. Thanks for coming out today. Today we are going to be introducing the introduction of Local Law B, which will set standards for notifying municipalities whenever there is soil or water testing that is of elevated rates. And we'll tell you a little bit more about the need for this in just a second. I'm joined here by a number of Albany County legislators. We have many environmentalists and folks that are very interested in environmental protection in Albany County. I hope I don't have to turn around and look at them. We have Carolyn McLaughlin with us, Matt Miller, Bill Ricard, Jeff Kuhn, Susan Petto, Tim Lane, Danielle Gillespie, and Lynn Lakakis. And I think I got everyone back there. We also are very happy to have with us a few municipal leaders from the town of Bethlehem. We have our town supervisor, David Van Leuven, and two of our town board, Maureen Cunningham and David DeCancio. Okay. Before we get into it, I also want to just highlight that we're working in partnership on this initiative and other environmental protection initiatives, not just with our county executive, Dan McCoy, who couldn't be here with us. He has introduced some other moratorium legislation that is very connected and relevant to this local law, and also Senator Pat Fahey, who is also working with us on some state legislation that she is contemplating that is very relevant also. But tonight we are introducing and taking another step to help support efforts at the local level to safeguard public health and environmental health, to ensure clean water and contaminant-free soil. With today's introduction of Local Law B, we will strengthen our communication standards and establish notification requirements between our County Department of Health and local government leaders whenever public health or environmental health threats are detected. We're very lucky to have a very diligent and dedicated group of county professionals who work very closely with us and our municipalities to help protect all of our natural resources, including our soil and water. The testing that they do ensures that both the soil and water remain resilient, healthy, and above all, safe for our residents. I appreciate our health department, Mary Beth Miller, and also our environmental health director at the county, Max Ferris, who've been working very closely with our municipalities. Local Law B's notification requirement is aimed at making sure everyone has access to important information. And with this law, we want to empower our county experts to share that information. It's really just that simple. We believe that open communication will further our efforts to protect our soil and water. We're all on the same page here, and we also believe that open communications is always good governance. Simply put, this local law will enhance communication to ensure the best outcomes for all of our residents by guaranteeing that everyone is on the same page with the same information as quickly as possible. Our job as community leaders is to listen when concerns from residents or the scientific community are raised, and recently we had some questions about the use of biosolids that resulted in the county executive instituting a 90-day moratorium in the town of Bethlehem. We've had our local leaders, and I'll introduce them shortly, to come up and talk a little bit about that, to ensure that Bethlehem's water supply was safe to drink, and working through some algae contaminants that were causing kind of nuisance issues in the town of Bethlehem. And this is really one of the reasons that we're happy to introduce Local Law B, is because we want to make sure that in future efforts that we're fostering county municipality connection and communication. We think that in addition to things like the 90-day moratorium, which I can speak about a little bit later as far as what happens next, but we think that is the best way to continue this kind of holistic approach to environmental protection, working together. A huge part of public health is obviously clean soil and water within a healthy environment. That's everyone's goal. Water is everything. For many in the world, pristine, clean water is what we dream about. We are thrilled to add a necessary local law that will strengthen our alliance, that adds another tool in the toolbox so that counties and localities can work effectively together. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you coming out to hear this introduction tonight. And I also want to let our local leaders in the town of Bethlehem who've been front and center, kind of prompting the need for this local law. I first introduce David Van Leuven, our town supervisor.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm David Van Leuven. I'm the Bethlehem Town Supervisor, and the Albany County Department of Health is a critical partner to the town of Bethlehem on so many public safety issues, whether it is giving us guidance on how to keep our employees safe during COVID-19 as they continued without break to deliver critical services, providing us advice and guidance on water quality, biosolids, bird flu. The list goes on for the insights and expertise that we as municipal leaders need in order to ensure that the services that we're delivering are protecting and supporting public health and safety. Anything that our legislators can do to strengthen the agency and strengthen our communication lines is gratefully accepted. Thank you, Chairwoman Cunningham and the rest of the county legislature for supporting public safety and this important initiative.
Thanks. I also want to highlight our Bethlehem contingent who is here. We have Matt Miller with us, who represents the southern part of town. Jeff Kuhn is here as well. We work very closely as a delegation. Vicki Plotsky from the Clarksville area representing town of Bethlehem as well, and Bill Reinhardt, who is the chair of our conservation committee in the legislature. We work as a team. It's good work together, and we also work very closely with David and the town board. The town board, along with David, have been kind of in the trenches on the front lines of some of the water challenges in Bethlehem, and I'd invite Maureen Cunningham to start us off.
Hi everyone, I'm Maureen Cunningham. I'm a Bethlehem Town Board member. In addition to that, I work full-time on water issues, watershed protection, PFAS and lead in drinking water, and water infrastructure. Part of my job is helping municipalities across the country, in fact, build trust in their public water supplies. It's sad, though, to say that nearly 60 million Americans have stopped trusting their drinking water. In fact, a third of those who have stopped trusting their drinking water happened since the Flint crisis 10 years ago. And a lot of people, a good chunk of that, have turned to bottled water, which is ironic because bottled water is actually less regulated than our tap water. In fact, in New York, we have strict drinking water standards. I'm proud to say I advocated for the PFAS drinking water standards, which at the time were some of the toughest in the country. And we do regulate for over 100 contaminants in our drinking water in New York State. I will say transparency is really the cornerstone of trust in water supplies, so I'm really happy about this local law that's going to encourage more transparency, more communication among municipalities, because I think this will really help in the long-term goal of building trust in our water supplies. So thank you.
Thank you. And Dave DeCantia, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, just real quick. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the county legislature. Maureen hit on it. Restoring the community's trust in government, that we will protect them, is a fundamental responsibility we need to make sure we deliver for them. Because there's nothing more important than making sure that our water and air qualities are top-notch, our families are safe, and I thank them for taking the leadership to put forth such a great proposal.
Thank you, David. I'd also like to invite Carolyn McLaughlin, who is the chair of our Legislative Black Caucus, to say a few words.
Thank you, Chairwoman Cunningham. I just want to say that I believe that this is a piece of legislation that, although it represents the Bethlehem area at this point, it impacts all of us. So I say thank you for bringing this to all of our attention, because as I listened to the news story, I began to think about the water that I drink and the bottles of water that are in my home, because I do want to make sure that we maintain the trust in the community. This proactive approach to this situation lets me know that we are in good hands. And I'm excited to be here to support the efforts that are being put forward on behalf of Bethlehem. And I know that it's not just going to stay there, because the air and the water, there are no boundaries. This affects all of us, not just some of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any of the rest of my colleagues, anyone want to say a few words? And Wanda is here. Wanda, perfect timing. Would you like to say a few words about Local Law B?
Thank you so much.
Right now, we are facing many challenges protecting our soil and water environment. Right now, we are facing many challenges protecting our soil and water, environmental, biological, and chemical. And I'd argue the best remedy is open communication between all levels of government. Current events have demonstrated how important information sharing is toward ensuring safety. This law is a step toward the protection of all Albany County's water and all the people that rely on it. While there may be issues in certain parts of the county at the moment, as a legislature we lead all of Albany County. Far too often, environmental justice issues threaten communities where the majority of the population is from minority groups. This law ensures that scientific experts and community leaders communicate often and early on to proactively addressing issues that can affect any community, and at the same time serve marginalized communities that may have been overlooked previously. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. We'd love to open it up for questions if any of you have any questions for any of us.
Basically, what's it going to look like? I understand it's an email and an additional follow-up. How are we talking to each other? How are we doing that?
So it's really simple. I mean, right now we don't have notification requirements that we should have. And we had an instance in the town of Bethlehem where some well water testing in the town of New Scotland would have been very useful information for the town of Bethlehem to have. So the idea is very simple, that our health department institute as a process improvement just increased communication for the municipalities that are not only the ones that are affected because the testing occurred in that municipality, but also the neighboring municipalities. So really simple, but trying to institute just process improvements now that we've learned a lot from what Bethlehem just went through, and in my mind, we're always trying to do things better, learn the lessons, so it's simple communication. And I know our health department in the county is very happy to talk with us about instituting this, and no issues there at all.
Once municipalities have been put on notice there may be a concern in the water, do they have a responsibility to alert their communities? And if so, what's that look like?
Yeah, David, I'm going to have you take that, since Bethlehem's sort of in the throes of.
We are required by state and federal laws to report our water quality test results annually. The town of Bethlehem has been partnering with Albany County Department of Health. We report our test results more frequently than that. And this is the kind of thing where, as David DeCancio and Maureen Cunningham said earlier, as we're building trust, transparency is the key. So the more information that we get, we'll put it out. But we're also putting out the information with an explanation, because sometimes raw data is not something that everyone understands. So having that expert explanation, which is something that we've really been tapping the Albany County Department of Health for, will really help people not just know what's happening, but understand why and what is going to be done in the future.
So then again, municipalities would have a responsibility to inform their citizenry?
I feel that we do have a responsibility to do that, but that's a responsibility that we take on as individual municipalities, is my understanding. Maureen, is that consistent with your understanding?
I would say in this case, the wells were outside of Bethlehem, so there is no requirement, state or federal, to notify our residents of things happening outside of the municipality. But that said, if the notification to Bethlehem would have and did alert us and cause us to do supplemental testing in our water bodies to ensure that the same problem wasn't showing up in our water bodies. And that in turn is notified to the public, and we just released some data last week.
Anyone else? No more questions?
Sorry, I have a question. I think Dave might have answered part of it, but how will this information that you guys are sharing with each other be relayed to residents? How is it that you guys do that?
I'm going to also have Bethlehem share, because I think you are a really good model on how that's been done effectively.
So a recent issue that we had with a musty water smell in Bethlehem really underscored that we as a municipality have to dramatically up our game in communications. And we're saying that because we were pushing information out through Facebook, through Instagram, through Nextdoor, on our website, and people weren't seeing it. So we as a municipality are doing a comprehensive review of our communications to find out ways that we can do a better job in the future. In terms of water communications, I would say that what we just did last week is a good example, where we had test results for our New Salem water treatment plant that showed that our water met all of the rigorous state and federal water quality requirements and was safe to drink. We did a press release, we put it out on social media, and we put it out on our website. But we're always looking for ways to do a better job of getting the information out.
Sure.
It says that the effective date is going to take effect when the Secretary of State has seen this filing. Can you give us some more on that? When
Sure.
When will this happen?
Sure. So the process for the county ledge is we introduce this as a local law. We're actually doing that tonight in an expedited way for our own procedure. It's called a Rule 11 that basically allows us to expedite pieces of legislation for exactly this purpose. So tonight it will get referred to the appropriate committees. One of the committees that it will go to two committees, the Law Committee and also our Environmental Conservation Committee. Those committees will discuss and debate the language and make sure that there's not anything in there that we're missing, how to strengthen it, or how to make sure that it is fully functional and operational, and that it's a tight piece of a tight local law that's meaningful and will do what we want it to do. And then after that process, it comes back here, and then we vote on it as a chamber, and after that it gets filed as a local law with the Secretary of State. And that's a fast process. As soon as we pass things, they are immediately sent to the Secretary of State's office.
So when would that vote take place?
So it's going to go to committees next week or the week after. The third week in March is our committee week. So this will, and this is the reason we expedited it, we wanted it to go to committee very quickly, and it will also have a public hearing attached to it. So we'll have to report out the public hearing, invite the public in to speak, so that will be probably April. And then it won't be in time for the April meeting, I don't think. If all goes smoothly, it will be voted on at our May meeting. Sure. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.